Set. 4, 3, 1.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Sunday Morning Quarterback. Today, we are four pastors who love ministry, leadership, and sports, and we've been on a little summer break, but the year is coming around, and we are jumping back in the saddle. John, how is it going at Rainbow Forest down there?
Oh, doing great things, man. Looking forward to this fall.
Yes, and Paul just did a sanctuary renovation. No more preaching outside in the heat. How you feeling?
Cool. Very cool.
I'm sure your people are happy about that. Dad coming in your office in Nashville. What's going on in the Music City today?
Absolutely melting. It has been a brutal summer, but hey, we're going to get in the low 90s here in the next couple of days, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yes, man. It's just been brutal. Let's jump into it, man. NFL is underway. We got preseason games on the horizon, a lot of storylines, and so we're just going to kind of bounce it around the horn. John, what storyline in the offseason or heading into the season has caught your eye, and what are some things that you're watching?
I was really interested in the draft. We saw a whole lot of quarterbacks come through the draft in an excessive rate this year. I think 6 in the first 12 picks. But out of those 6, it looks like that only 3 are getting the nod. I'll just give you a couple of stats that I've been tracking through the last few years. In 2019, there were 8 quarterbacks, rookie quarterbacks, that started and played in more of 4 games. The next year, there were 9. The next year, there were 7. And then there were 4. This year, it looks like the possibility is going to be 3 or less. I think what we're starting to see is maybe a little less hope in the quarterback position, carrying the weight of the day, and a little bit more hope in team and defense. I'm hoping that's the case. I'm looking forward to see. I believe Nix is going to start. I believe Williams is going to start. And I do believe that Daniels is going to get the nod there in Washington. I think all 3 are going to be week 1 starters. I'm looking forward to see how they do. I think Nix is going to be the shocker, if we're going to be honest. And so that's what I've been watching. That's what I've been tracking with. I'd like to see defense and running the game come back to the NFL world and change the dynamic.
That's some good points there, John. Speaking of quarterbacks, I'm hearing bad things about Drake May coming out of camp. People are looking a little worried about him, saying he's looks like the reincarnate Mac Jones. And I don't know if that's fact or not.
He's just a little bit more raw.
Yeah.
And honestly, they dropped in on probably the worst team in the league currently, and they didn't improve any of their staff, their support players around them. It's going to be a long year. I don't think he's going to get on the field. I think if he does, it's going to be after week 7 at best to throw the ball around. The good news is he can throw the deep ball very well.
Yeah.
And so his inconsistency in the passing, his footwork, I think he has enough time to clean it up over the next 5 to 7 weeks and gain the learning curve, but there's no doubt his raw talent is going to be there.
Yep, I just let him sit for a year. Dad, what storylines have been popping out to you?
Like many, I've been watching Aaron Rodgers and the Jets, and the inconsistency of these pundits. Some think, okay, they Super Bowl bound, and others are like, well, maybe they'll go 500. And, I land in the middle. I think they're going to have a good year. I think they have a tremendous defense. I think they got a great running game. If they can keep Aaron healthy, I think they can go a long way. The other thing is Chicago. I'm interested in Chicago. What are they going to do? Same thing. A lot of folks are thinking they'll go, 8-7, maybe 9-8, but I think they got a good defense. I think their quarterback's going to shine. So it's going to be fun to see where they go. And then, but my ultimate one, and I'm going to stay away from my Cowboys, and I don't want to talk about them right now. But I want just this time, John. Just this time. I'll get motivated again before the season's up.
I won't.
Illusion setting in, bro.
I'm excited to see what the Chargers do. I'm excited to see what the Chargers do. That's going to be a fun watch. Can he change your culture? They got a lot of talent. They got an number 1 quarterback. Can he change that culture and put them on a trajectory of truly winning? So that's going to be fun because ultimately, everybody's after Kansas City. Can they win number 3? Let's see if the Chargers have anything to do with it, in particular,
Yes.
Harbaugh.
Yep, Harbaugh, especially since he comes in, he has those splash seasons. He does the quick turnaround. It's weird. It's like he does the quick turnaround, throws paint on the walls, and it looks like a new house. Then he regresses a little bit year 2 and 3, and then year 4, 5, 6 is when he really like cements his foundation. I think Harbaugh is going to take exactly what he did at Michigan. He's going to beef up the D-line. He's going to run the ball. He's going to ground and pound. He's going to give the quarterback some structure to play in, Herbert, and really train him and really put his imprint and DNA. So that's an interesting one. Dad, do you think the Chargers make the playoffs? They got a favorable schedule.
Yeah, I say they slide in. I think
The
they
wild
slide
card.
in. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think, keep your eyes on Houston. They really bulked up. And so keep your eyes on Houston as well.
Yeah, we'll talk about them in a minute. All right, Paul, last week in the news, Tua Tagovailoa, 4-year deal. Your wide
Tyreek
receiver,
with a big contract.
Tyreek with a big contract. So they're committing to Tua and Tyreek for the foreseeable future. How do you feel about your Dolphins?
I'm good. I'm excited to watch him again. That's for sure. I think it's going to be fun to be able to watch Tyreek again, watch Waddle again, watch A-Chain again. I mean, it's in terms of offense, I mean, hopefully they'll be as exciting to watch as they were last year, but without any injuries, hopefully. And it'll be fun to kind of see how all of that pans out, man. But I, for the first time in a while, like many other Dolphins fans, like we're excited about the team that McDaniel has at his disposal to be able to do some damage. So we'll see how things turn out. I hope, like I said, I hope we can definitely see some good out of the season. I like Tua being there, man. I think he's shown that he should be there. And he went through some pretty tough times as well, going starting off like he did and all the rest with concussions and this, that, and the other. But man, like he's there and I like him as our quarterback. So I'm excited to see. And if he can keep tossing the ball to the cheetah, amen.
Yep. The only hesitation that I'm hearing out of Miami is that they've lost some defensive pieces, so y'all are going to have to win a lot of shootouts. And, Miami is just a different team in the cold. And so if you guys are ever going to make a run, you just got to get home field. Yeah, I have mixed thoughts. I feel like, every year there's one playoff team that doesn't make it, that all out of the teams that made it the year before that doesn't make it the following year. And sometimes when the public is really heavy on a team, that's the team that doesn't live up to the expectations. And so part of me feels like Houston, everybody is blowing them up big time. And, Stephon Diggs, you got some different personalities in the room. And so will the quarterback, C.J. Stroud, have a little regression? Which, side note, let me add this in here. I was pleasantly surprised. He was on a Christian podcast, and he was talking about how he had to check himself because he was very outspoken that he's a baby Christian, and he said he's new to Christianity and all these things, and he was having to check his language. He said, I can't use colorful language if I'm truly going to follow Christ in the public eye, and that was something that somebody made aware to me because, we were all outspoken about him sharing about his faith last year at the beginning, but then you see some other stuff where he's, kind of representing himself, maybe not as good a light with language. And so kudos to him for having the maturity to look himself in the mirror and address that because, man, talk about face of the league. If he has another year like he did last year, that could really catapult him quickly, kind of like Joe Burrow-esque, into that top 5 quarterback if he can have a repeat. One of the ones I'm watching this year is Deshaun Jackson. This is kind of make or break year. I mean, they've got a solid roster there in Cleveland. Can he get everything dialed up right? They've got Amari Cooper. They retained him. I think Buffalo's going to pull back a little bit. They lost Diggs, so can they replace it? Like, we're really going to see how valuable Josh Allen is now. Can they replace all that? That's one of those things that's like, all right, you cut bait, but what are you going to do to replace all those receptions? And John, I'm not going to talk about the Cowboys, but I'm just going to set the record straight. This is our first sports NFL podcast. My hope is that Dallas Cowboys do not make the playoffs. That's my hope. Because I think if we do make the playoffs, it's going to be 10-6, and we're going to lose in the first round, and it's going to be more of what we already know. So I'm going to hold to that all year, John. I've been telling you, I'm apathetic.
Think there's a reverse psychology in sports.
I'm telling you, the fan base is so apathetic right now. There's record low numbers at the training camp. I did think it was funny how the top 100 voted on by the players came out, and Dak was like the sixth quarterback higher than a bunch of other guys voted by the players. That's just another story. But anyway, it is what it is. Let's shift.
If you were going to talk about Dallas, you got to at least talk about the fact that your boy Jones is not coming off of any money to play. What is his problem? Why is he nickel and diamond?
Dude,
who's sitting on Scrooge McDuck over here, sitting on stacks of money.
He waits.
Like, dude, pay some players.
And here's the thing: if you, dude, they're talking, John, about the potential of trading Micah Parsons. Like, are you kidding me? You don't trade that guy. You just make it work, and the money's going to keep going up and up. But they just want to wait, and so that's my feeling. So
lose two good players this year in the offseason.
Gosh,
these two good players.
Gosh, yep.
Hey Joseph, you know what Miami did?
What?
They paid their players.
They
paid their players.
Let's see how you feel when Tua gets injured in about 6 weeks. And
Chiefs, they pay their players. That's why they keep.
Yep, no,
the
they
Eagles,
do.
They pay their players. It's a constant.
Hey, let's do this real quick.
I mean, it's why the number one player is at Miami right now, right? Is that what that is?
No,
I mean, right?
Hey, but you know what? They didn't have to because they had Mahomes and he was expendable, kind of like Kelsey will be expendable too. All right, here's a question. Let's go around the horn real quick and keep it kind of short. Dad, Kansas, yes or no? Kansas City three-peats.
No.
Ooh. So, you think they lose to Burrow, lose early?
Yeah, I think there's enough teams. Yeah, I would not bet on them.
You're taking the field. John, what about you? Do they three-peat?
I don't think they three-peat, and I think it's because they squeaked by. It was too close this year. They've not improved from this year. Other teams have. I just don't see them pulling it. To pull 3 in a row is a pretty special opportunity, and I don't see it at this point in the season.
Yep. Paul, you know too?
Yeah, ditto. I'm with John. I mean, look at the fact of how they won, and I think that may tell you a bigger story of all of that. Like it's just that's really hard.
The AFC is a gauntlet, and if you look at their schedule, man, it is tough. I mean, it's just it's the who's who of.
I will say this real quick, Joseph. If they do, they now are a defensive juggernaut, and it's their offensive that's taking a hit.
Yeah.
And so you give Andy Reid a full offseason to figure some things out. He may figure some things out with his new personnel in order to get some more points on the board, knowing his defense is so stout. So.
Yep.
You got the greatest quarterback, you got the greatest offensive mind. It could be interesting.
Yep.
I see your boy Travis Swift taking a step back, coming in, just not playing well. Eyes on the concerts, on the prize, on the fandom, going down.
Took me a second. I was like, Travis. Oh, I get what you. Yeah. This could be. I think this will be his final year. He might regress a little bit, but who knows? We'll see.
He's getting older. He's getting older.
Is. Dad, let's talk Olympics for a little bit. We've got Team USA playing right now. Ledecky won yesterday. We've got all the races going. Let's talk Olympics for a minute. What have you been watching? Any takeaways or any standouts?
Oh yeah, I love the Olympics. I cheer hard for them. I think it's pretty cool because I think people have been cheering for Ukraine. People have been cheering for Israel, cheering for some of the smaller countries. But some of my takeaways is I love the pool. I love how USA dominates the pool and battle against Australia. And it seems like China's getting better. And of course, I love the gymnastics and the guys. They pulled together and done some great things. So I love.
First time in a long time, man.
Yeah, it's been a long time. So I love the Olympics. I can watch it, all different sports. And it is a time where people are able to just cheer for their country and a little bit of unity there.
Yep. Paul, what have you been watching? Anything pop out to you?
Same thing like your dad, man. It was fun watching that young team of gymnastics, like the men's gymnastics win, and Simone Biles is just a freak of nature. She's incredible, man. Like the stuff that she does while she's kind of like sort of injured and makes it look easy when on the scale of difficulty is like the most difficult thing that you can do is just beyond me. Like she's just an incredible athlete. I thought it was awesome. I don't know if you guys saw the men's final 100 meter, but it was crazy. To think like an American won by milliseconds. Like .005. Like that's how much of the difference it was between him winning. But man, to have Americans podium, 2 Americans podium in the 100 meter is awesome.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, I think it's tomorrow, but the guy that won, and his name, I'm forgetting it, but the guy that won has a chance to do what Carl Lewis did like 16 or 17 years ago to actually win in the 100 and the 200. So it'll be, overall, it's been a lot of fun. I even watched fencing, which I thought was really great.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's my thoughts on
The one that really caught my eye yesterday, I missed the guys' race because we were doing church stuff, but was the 3x3 relay, or the relay where it's like 2 males and 2 females and they do the baton. And man, USA was winning the whole way.
Yeah.
And then this chick named Femke Bowl, man, she just took off in that last little bit, and man, it was heartbreak. But it was cool seeing it for the Netherlands. And then right after that, I think it was, I can't remember what country, but they'd never won gold. It was like the short sprint, and the girl won. That was cool. Just seeing that country pride. Yeah. John, what about you?
You guys covered a good bit of all the other relay. I was just talking about the U.S. men's basketball team.
Yeah.
That finally put some defense together and looks like they're bringing together a team. I was also just kind of curious. They kind of fumbled their way through the prelims, and so, but it looks like they finally pulled some unified teamwork together. I'm going to be honest. I did talk a little bit about Anthony Edwards, talking a lot of trash that it was his team and this kind of thing, but then he went out and he dropped like 27 points in like 12 minutes. It was incredible, and I was like, well, maybe he knows what he's talking about. So I'd really like to see a couple of those players take the lead and really stabilize the team moving forward into the medal rounds. And so I'm looking forward to see who rises to the occasion in a pretty deep team there.
I'm hopeful. I would really like to see, because anytime you talk about Olympics and basketball, everybody compares every team to the dream team. And the reality is the world has gotten so much better at basketball. And I think I think we really got to put our best horses out there and play well to win. So I actually, for entertainment's sake, would like to see us get challenged versus, Joker's country, or play a Luka, or we played Canada in the prelims. I thought they would do a little bit better with the team that they've got Shea and the other guy, Jamal Murray from Denver. I thought that would be a little bit closer. And so I wouldn't be shocked, though, if this team loses or gets bounced out, just because the world is just getting so much better. And so, Dad, do you think the dream team was as good as we all think they were, or was a part of it, and we know that they're good, but was a part of it that the world was just so far behind? And how, every team you have to compare. What are your thoughts on that?
No, they were as good, but it goes back to legend. You had legends on that team. You got names. So, even though, Magic was, about out of his prime, and Larry was definitely out of his prime, if you have Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, and Larry Bird together, that's more than the game. It's just, seeing ultimate greatness, especially, in the 80s going into the 90s. That's when basketball really began to take off. In the 70s, they were struggling bad. But those 3 iconic players brought basketball to where it is now. So they're just foundational pieces. So when you think of the dream team, you think of just history, legends, mile markers, and foundational pieces to what it is today.
Yeah, one thing I think is interesting as we wrap this topic up is we talked all year in basketball, playoff basketball, which was great, about how it was the passing of the baton, and how LeBron, Durant, and Steph were all out early, and it was the young thoroughbreds, the Anthony Edwards and Jason Tatum's. I actually now it just hit me. I like that they paired this team with Durant, Steph, and LeBron, who are that generation, passing it to the young thoroughbreds, the Tatums and the Edwards. And so that's kind of neat, getting to mesh those worlds together, because soon those guys will be retired and moved on. And then funny enough, you still see LeBron being the consistent one. And, Anthony Davis has surprised me a little bit. And, you're starting to see some questions about Joel Embiid. He's not, he's a ball stopper and doesn't play well. And so a lot of intrigue with this team. Real curious to see how it pans out. Yeah. So
I'll say this though, man,
Yeah.
before you skip it, like that team was unlike, I think, any other team, and I would be hard pressed to see if they would even win, if the current team would even win against. I mean, like Joe, you mentioned a few, but you got Jordan, Pippen, Stockton, Karl Malone, okay, Patrick Ewing, David Robinson, Charles Barkley, and Clyde Drexler. Like, dude, and
As good as it
and
gets.
mind you, Isaiah Thomas wasn't on there because Clyde got over him, and Christian Leitner was chosen over Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah, you put
So
Shaq
mind you,
on that team.
you had two. I mean, so put Shaq on there and not Christian Leitner. I don't care who you put. Like, you're toast, bro. Like, you're not winning against
Well,
those
and
guys.
ultimately, you had Michael Jordan in his absolute prime.
Prime, bro.
Absolute
Yeah,
prime.
there's no way. If Kobe maybe would have been, maybe it's somewhere around there with some of these younger guys, maybe. But dude, there's just, look at the team. There's absolutely, in my mind, there's no way.
One
There's
thing
no
that's
way.
been fascinating, just on the sports topic, is now that this is the first Olympics that's come around since Kobe passed. And we all remember when he finally played for the Olympics, and it was a young LeBron and a young Wade. And you're starting to hear some truths come out now that Coach K's retired about, like, they were really worried about, LeBron was in an immature state, and they had Jason Kidd, who was like the handler for both of them, keeping them at peace. And basically, they asked Kobe, they said, what made you finally do the Olympics? And he said, I was tired of them, explicit word, messing it up and losing. And so that's been interesting as it's the wagon's kind of circling back to that team too. So anyway, definitely a continued watch. Hey, let's transition to our ministry section of the podcast. And it is August 5th, which is a busy time. People don't always understand as pastors and ministry leaders about what we do. I try to tell people it's so unique because there's some times where it might be a straight month where you're just foot on the gas and you're pedal to the metal. And then there's some times where, it lets off and it's a transitional season and we're able to kind of catch a little bit of rest. And we are entering into a go-go mode. Paul, you've been go-going all summer with your sanctuary renovation. But as we approach this new school year, it's back to school, ministry starting back. We've got Wednesday night starting back, all these different things. And as a pastor, a lot of times we cast this vision for our church, which is great, but one of the things that is absolutely critical to achieving our church's mission collectively as a whole, and each of our churches, is the people and the volunteers and the servants that push it forward. And we'll just kind of have an open-ended conversation. Dad, I'm going to send this one to you first. You like to go last, but I'm going to send this to you first, and we'll kind of take this few directions. Let's start here. Do churches as a whole do a good job or a bad job of equipping their people in general? What do you think?
It's a loaded question.
Yeah.
I think that I don't, every church is, to generalize, I think is unfair.
Okay.
Because I really think it should go from church to church to church. And I'm really just going to stay with me.
Okay.
To be fair, because it's so easy, because we have a nature within us to prop ourselves up by looking down on other people. But for me, especially going into the fall, I think I have to always stay focused on being focused. Because when I'm zeroed in and I'm focused in and I understand who I am and the calling that I've been given, and understand the importance of prayer, the importance of just not preaching sermons or Bible studies, but developing leaders, developing maturity, developing an awareness to spirituality. I think that's when, churches are honing in and allowing God to do what only God can do. When we lose focus, then we start to just kind of go through the motions. And so, that question, it's almost seems like it's up and down, and I'll be even with me and in my personal walk. So what I try to do, and I think for churches to do better at that, is to just try to stay focused on keeping the main things, and not really go through the cycles of seasons. Well, it's the summertime, so I can, take my foot off the gas, or, or I need to rev it back up again, but stay focused. And so you may not have a lot of activities going on, but you still want to always stay focused on the main things that we're called to do. And that's truly develop the people that God has graciously given to us, and understand the ramifications and responsibility, and to take it seriously every single day. And when you do that, through the ups and downs, through the difficulties, you can stay focused and remembering that Jesus that makes the difference, not you.
All right, I appreciate that perspective. So we'll kind of shift that line of thinking. Paul, what about you guys? When I say developing our people, maybe you want to personalize that or generalize a little bit. How does that land with you?
Yeah. No, I think Joe's being pretty fair-minded there, and even charitable towards other churches, because it's pretty hard to paint a broad stroke on something like that when we don't really know. However, I do agree with him in that, we do have a pretty big responsibility with the people that we have and what we're called to do. I mean, Ephesians tells us that we're there to equip the saints for the work of ministry, and it's pretty explicit. And I'll tell you, man, like I think our people want that. Our people don't want to come in on a Sunday morning and fumble around in the words as they're trying to connect people from one place to the other as a guest comes in. Like, nobody wants to feel stupid in that moment and think to themselves, I'm going to pretend to give you information that I don't really have. And then they want to serve people well, right? Because they want to be welcoming, and they want to, greet people in a way that's informative and helpful. Nobody walks into a kid's room and wants to just completely disappoint everybody that's in there and give a kid a horrible experience, and then parents walk out the door and say, I'm never coming back to this church. Like, I don't think our people want that. They don't want that experience. But it's also, I think, incumbent upon us to make sure that we do all that we can to plan ahead, to be able to resource them with the kind of things that they need in order for them to do the job well, right? And so part of it is just like, okay, how can we do that? And then what's really required of that? And so if you're thinking like, how can we resource so that they can do the job well? That's one thing. If you're thinking, hey, how can we practically be able to give them tools? That's another thing. I guess it's part of the resource. Or if you're thinking like spiritually, like, hey, are we doing the job of edifying them with the truth of God's word so they can get handles around how they can, grow in their faith? Well, hey, there's classes that we can teach when it comes to all that. All that to say, I think it's incumbent upon us as pastors, as leaders within the church, to be able to think very carefully. Hey, on that side, just to be charitable and empathize with your people, like on that side, when somebody's greeting someone, right, and they want to be there and they want to make sure that as they welcome people in, do they have everything that they need, from information to resources, to do the job that they're supposed to do? Because if they're leaving frustrated because, someone was uncharitable to them when they walked in, but they have everything that they need, well, that's a whole different conversation. But if we haven't done the job of making sure to say, hey, here's everything that you need in order to do this well and to serve the Lord well because you have a heart for this, then we're doing what we're supposed to do. I think what that means for me is I have to be very, very intentional with making sure that I stop by the desk and ask the simple question, hey, how are things going up here? Connect with the leader that's doing first impressions, for example, and spend time with him understanding, how can I help you? Like, what do you need from me to make sure that you're doing everything that you need to do well? That makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, that's good. No, that's good. I like too that you hit on there's the spiritual things that are important, but there's also the details of, like my pastor always says, the sermon starts in the parking lot. And so those little things, those volunteer or that seem little, they're big in the grand scheme. They can make or break an impression, and they really set a culture. John, what part of all this resonates with you guys and Rainbow Forest, and or you in general?
Yeah, I think how to affirm a lot of what has been said. I think there's been thoughtful intentionality to create rhythms and healthy paces within people's lives to go, this is just something I naturally do. I try to think through like a 3-prong attack on this. So one is you're equipping from the pulpit. So you're preaching the word. And as you're preaching the word, you're handing out good resources, encouraging people to pick up things that will help along that. We're about to start a series on biblical roles in the church and at home. And so the first week I'll give out this book, right? Men and Women in the Church, Kevin DeYoung. It's a great book. I got 6 or 7 copies. I'll give them away for free, encourage people to read on it. And then that's going to be the primary means where you expect the most amount of impact, the most amount of people to understand what it means to be a believer and to walk with one another as they follow Christ. And so we can't push that off for strategic training, which I think is the second prong. There's strategic training and job assignment, role assignment for specific tasks that need to happen, right? Someone's got to count the money. Someone's got to take up the offering. There's particular things that are going to happen. And so we outline those. We put them up on a board. We let people take them until all of them are gone. We have specific trainings. I got a small group leader training this Sunday. We got a worship ministry training this Sunday. Last week, we had a kids ministry training. And so there's strategic training that also has to come in for specific task-oriented roles. But I think the third thing that we really have to wrap our hands around that might get overlooked at times is empowering people to make personal connections with one another as their ministry, right? Like when the word is clear that says stir up one another, love and good works, sing psalms to one another, right? Carry the burdens with one another. So we have all these one another's that are woven together. And our responsibility is not just come in and say, well, where's my place in here? I need a specific task. Because then you'll need that task to feel like you're contributing to the kingdom. But if you can cast a vision for your people to say your reasonable expectation in coming in, praising, worshiping Christ, hearing a sermon, being equipped by the word, thinking critically about Christ and his word, and then considering your neighbor, whoever's sitting around you, beside you, somewhere in your space, and how you're going to engage with them with life-giving words, a hug, an affirmation, whatever it may be, prayer time, whatever that looks like. And so I'd say all three of those things are things that I try to focus in on in our time together so that our people feel equipped, not just over specific tasks, not just when they go home, but when they're in the room with no role, but a faithful church member connecting with other faithful church members, be able to mature one another in Christ.
Yeah, I think that's really good. I like how a lot of times too, I think what that does is that connects leadership development and then discipleship, two sides of the same coin. They go hand in hand, and they flow from the same breath. So I thought that was really good. One thing that we're kind of learning in the current season that we're in is I think in church world we tend to do a lot of one-offs. One-off, marriage thing, or one-off training, and a lot of times those one-offs are good, but if it just ends there, we've made that mistake. And so I'm in a season of the things that we really feel are valuable, try to make them annual things. So, stemming from the idea of we're trying to build from the ground up a culture of equipping. So I've found that if I can put something on the calendar, like if I say, hey, we have to equip our Connect group leaders or our student ministry workers or whatever, so this Sunday we're having a leadership summit. We did our first one. We've never since I've been here, I'd never done one. And we had breakouts and the whole deal, and it was great. And if it would have ended there, it would have been cool, but it wouldn't have had maximum impact. Where now we're saying, hey, this is so important that we need to integrate it into our schedule so that we do it every year, because the reality is this August is just as busy. But when we put it on the calendar 8 months ago, it reminds us, no, this is important. We need to prioritize it. We need to make time for it. And talking about a culture of equipping, having systems in place where it's not just everybody together, but maybe it bleeds down to kids ministry. So you're saying, hey, kids minister, I want you to really have a systematic culture where you're equipping your team bi-quarterly or quarterly. Well, what do we meet about? Assess and look at your mission as a children's department, and same thing in student ministry, and the same thing in worship ministry. And when you have a culture of equipping, I think systematically putting it on the calendar forces you to constantly be evaluating, how can I get better? How can I push it forward? post-COVID, I think of a lot of things post-COVID at church. Pre-COVID, we didn't really have the teams in place or the Sunday the experience in place. Now we do. And I like to say we've built the car, but now we've got to start like putting the paint and fine-tuning. And that has to come with, thinking things out and putting it on paper. And then I think the next part of equipping is picking people that have the ability to push it forward and then delegating and empowering them to lead. And so I'm always asking the question of, what's something I'm missing here that this person that's not connected that, maybe I haven't, what's another way we can plug men in other than just put them on a safety door? What's a hole we can fill? And then another just personal takeaway is I feel personally like we set the bar too low in our busy world that we're in. People are constantly traveling, going to games and this and this and that. And when we're recruiting people, it's like, hey, it's not, if you got to miss a Sunday, that's fine. We're selling this mission to get them to sign up. But what we did was we set the bar too low and there wasn't a high enough of an expectation so that they feel like it's okay to miss 3 out of 6 weeks. And I'm like, hey, man, you show up every morning at 8 a.m. at your job. Your kids are going to school. I'm just asking you for one Sunday a month for 45 minutes. So we currently at Burning Bush are having to raise the bar of expectation a little bit. And almost sometimes unintentionally, we devalue how smart and strong leaders these people are and how high of a capacity they have. And I don't know, those are just some personal takeaways. They hit different in everybody's context. Dad, any thoughts here in all this?
No, I think the hard part is, just like John said, and everybody said it, just staying focused every single day, being diligent, and don't be stagnant. Well,
Yep.
we're okay. Always challenge yourself. It always starts with you, the leader. And if you're challenging yourself and then you're setting high expectations, and then you go the extra mile with people. There are people hurting all around us, and so they want to grow and they want to be challenged and they want to be good dads and good moms and good husbands and wives. And so, they come to church and, they're ready to listen, and we got to give them something and we got the greatest news.
Yep.
Jesus.
Yep. And sometimes serving can give us a connection with a person to get to that conversation, even if it's them standing at a door or handing out a bulletin. That might be the on-road that allows to the discipleship or to the investment or to minister to them. So equip wherever you are. Always be evaluated and always be looking. We'll start to get into a rhythm as we get into football season. Y'all have a good day and see you later.